Hey guys, I spent 5 years in computer science as a graduate and I still failed. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experiences, my struggles, my mistakes, my perspectives, and if you're someone who's also struggling like I am, or who's completely starting out and clueless of what sort of an approach and a mindset to take, hopefully you're going to walk out of this video with more clarity than you entered it with. Starting with the first major mistake that I made was to not make enough self projects from scratch. The most important thing I would argue as a developer is to be able to make things from scratch, to code things from scratch, to just get on a computer, get typing, get coding, and to have something that works, some functional sort of an application, anything. It does not necessarily have to be the next meta, but it has to be functional, and it also does not have to be something which is solving problems for others. It can be something that is solving problems for your own self as well. It can be a stopwatch, it can be some sort of a clock that is tailored particularly to you and to some sort of a problem that you are going through in your own life. But what is the most important is that you make that project, make several of those projects from scratch. Now this does not mean that you don't use Google and you don't search it up and you just don't look for any sort of resources, but it is that you scour through those resources, not with the mindset of just blindly copying them, but of making some sort of use of them so that you can implement it as a feature. Essentially, that is what development is going to be. It's to take business logic and to turn it into something useful in terms of code. So not making your own projects is going to be the biggest mistake that you can possibly make. So if you're someone who has not made enough projects, if you're not convinced with the amount of projects that you have, or you think you have not just built anything by yourself, you need to get to it and you need to build something, no matter how small it is, but you need to get started. You need to get that momentum and you just need to begin with it. Which brings me to my second major mistake. This is about the second major mistake, which has to do with tutorial hell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the worst place you can be. And this is not just something that pertains to computer science, it's just prevalent and everywhere currently in this day and age. When you want to do something, or at least when I wanted to do something, my first approach was to go online, to go on YouTube, to go on the internet, to look for resources for what I was going to work with. Now, while the approach is not entirely wrong, but the problem with this sort of an approach is you are stuck copying. You are not making or building on your own. You are implementing solutions someone else already thought through. You're not thinking through it on your own. While this approach is not entirely the worst, that you scour through the internet for resources and then you take inspiration from what you can find online, there's some great content out there. There's a lot of great projects that you can take inspiration from on the internet, and undoubtedly in this day and age you should utilize them and you should take them. But the incorrect approach here, which I took and which I would ask you not to take, is to blindly rely on them and just completely copy them. An approach that you can take is that you can get to a project that you find interesting, which is relevant to the tech stack that you want to learn, and after you have gone through it once, you have copied along and followed it once, coded along with it with the content creator, you go a second time. You go a second time and do it without having to look at that video. You do it on your own. You code it on your own. You add some sort of a feature or application of your own. You tailor it to your experience. That is what it is all about. That is how you can utilize the content, the enormous amount of content available in this modern day and age, by tailoring it to your own problem stack. You don't have to blindly copy, you have to apply it. Again, that is what coding is about. You get business logic, you solve problems, personal problems. They don't necessarily have to be at first problems that others are facing, but they can be problems that you are facing on your own. So come across that content. If you find something good, look at it. The next time, do it without looking, and keep iterating this process, and eventually you're going to be able to gather enough confidence to at least make something even remotely useful to yourself. And if you can get there, it's a great starting point. Beyond that, with practice, you're going to get incredibly much better, and you're going to just be used to. And you're what's a good thing that will happen, or the outcome when you try these approaches, is that your mind gets ready to associate, and there's some sort of mind maps that essentially start being formed, where you can connect problems and you can correlate them with how you can implement them through code. So yeah, you are going to have to build stuff. To sum up both those points that I just talked about, both of the mistakes, you're going to have to make your own projects. You're going to have to build. Which brings me to the last major mistake. To have spent time confused and to decide whether I wanted to choose data structures and algorithms, lead code, problem solving, just pure problem solving, or I wanted to give most of my time in web development. The best approach, according to me, would be to have and strike a healthy balance where you're doing maybe 80-20, 80% of web development, 20% of DSA throughout the day. You have to incorporate DSA in your daily routine. You have to get lead coding. You have to grind those problems. Now, they necessarily do not have to be big problems, like 5 to 10 hard problems every day, but you have to start somewhere. They can be as easy. They can be just take 15 minutes out of your day and think about some easy problem. To start, just think about them. You don't even have to solve it right away. Just make it a habit in your daily routine that you just think about some. There's numerous lists out online. There's lots of resources available online. You can pick any list you like and just straight away start hacking at it. Again, the key here is to use those resources and to tailor them to your daily routine. You don't have to exactly go according to the framework that someone else has given you. You have to make your own framework, which I believe is the key in this field. You're going to have to do a lot of that. You're not always going to have readily available resources, but you are going to have to customize them in a way so that they are suitable and they work for you. You're going to have to do some digging. You're going to have to experiment through things that you find and you like. Coming back to the main point, which is between DSA and web development, there is no shortcut. If you want to be a developer, you're going to have to get proficient with DSA as well. I'm not saying that you have to be an absolute lead code god where you're solving 500 plus problems just with your eyes closed, but you have to at least know all the patterns. You're going to have to be, if not average, above average. It's just a part of computer science at this point. You cannot deny it. The faster you accept this reality, the better it is going to be for you as a developer. So you're going to have to strike a healthy balance and do both of them. So to summarize it all, get building, get coding, and just go out there and see what works for you. You're going to have to experiment like I did as well, but with the mindset and the approach that I just spelled out for you in this video, hopefully you're going to have a better time and some sort of an assurance and clarity to continue going on, hacking away, coding away. Thank you. That will be it.